I'm Casey and this is my service dog Elsa, and today we're going to teach you to teach your dog to pick up objects. So when you're teaching your dog to retrieve, there's actually 5 different things you need to teach them. You need to teach them to pick up the item, to hold the item, to bring it to you, to give it to you, or to drop it. And there's actually 3 more optional commands that you can teach your dog that goes along with retrieval, such as picking up a specific item, or to put that item into a bin or trash can or bucket, and also to tug on that item. For example, to open doors or something like that if you have a door tug on it. So with retrieval, you have to teach all these different steps. Now, in the end, if you decide to combine all these steps into one go get it command, that's totally fine. I personally find it's more helpful to keep all of the different commands or different steps into separate commands, because then you can go into a more complicated or different circumstance and be able to communicate more thoroughly with your dog in order for them to know what you actually want them to do. So this video is actually going to be the first video in this series, and today we're just focusing on teaching your dog to pick up the item. As I upload the rest of this series step by step, they will be available linked down in the description below, but if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss them. And don't forget to turn on notifications. So there's really 2 main ways you can teach this first step, and it's totally dependent on your personal dog's personality as to which way you're going to go with it. Now, there's 2 basic ways to teach your dog to pick up an object. One is by using a toy and through play, and the other one is by using some nice yummy treats. Now, depending on your dog is which one you're going to start with, but I always recommend that once you teach the get it command or pick it up with one method, that you actually go to the next method. This gives your dog a really nice full understanding of what you actually want. Alright, so in this first method we'll be using a toy, and this is Elsa's preferred method because she is more of a toy dog than a treat dog. Now this could also go 2 ways. So if your dog is really good about grabbing an object from your hand or from the floor, grabbing his toy and playing with it, this is going to be super easy for you. All you have to do is now pair the word get it with them picking up the object. So if your dog likes toys but is not super big on tugging on them or grabbing them out of your hand, and will say only pick them up if you throw it really far like a tennis ball, then this will be a little bit harder, but all you have to do is tease them a little bit and eventually they'll get the game that you just want them to pick it up. Now if you're doing that method, try to get them interested in the toy and grabbing on the toy before you start adding the word. Alright Elsa, you ready? Come on. What's this? What's this? Ready? Yeah, good girl. Good girl. Give. Good get. Yeah, good girl. Yay. Good girl. Give. Yes. Good job. Good job. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Good job. Give. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. So a quick tip for you guys, if you guys have a very enthusiastic, toy-driven dog that really gets on to just picking the toy up and you get to play tug, that's awesome. And you can easily pair the word get it with that kind of dog. Though, it can be hard for them to let go. And even though we're not really focusing that on this video, it's actually very, very easy to teach. I'll tell you right now. All you have to do is get your dog to grab the toy and just play tug with them. Have fun. Yeah, get it. And then I want you to pause and be totally non-fun, basically. And you're going to say about every 5 seconds your drop command. So drop, out, leave it, give, whatever you want to say. And you're just going to say that in a monotone voice. We don't want to be corrective to a dog. We don't want them to listen to our voice. We want them to listen to our words. Our tone of voice, we want them to listen to our words. And you're just going to say that. And as soon as they drop it, yay, good job! and then, get it again. And then you're just going to continue playing with them. So the reward for them is that they get it back. And then after they understand it, then you can start having them wait a little bit longer, build up some patience before they go and grab it again. So this is kind of how the exercise would look. Ready, Else? Come on. Oh, what is that? Get it. Yeah, good job. Good job. Give. Yes. Get it. Yeah, good job. Good job. Get it. Get it. Yeah, good job. Good job. Give. Yes, get it. Oh, yeah. Good girl. Yay, good girl. Oh, yes. So there are two methods for you to do. First, once they release, to go ahead and toss the toy. If your dog doesn't have a firm grip or a firm get it yet, they don't quite understand that command, because that is what we're teaching them right now. You can go ahead and toss it. A little bit more fun, especially if they like toss toys, because some dogs do like toss toys versus playing tug of war. Depends on your dog. So just kind of experiment and get to know your dog and your dog's personality, and just work with that. But those are two methods. So I hope you enjoyed that quick little fun tip. Okay, so our second method is using treats as opposed to a toy, although you can use them together almost. Or you can use just a simple object like a pin. Is pretty easy. Definitely nothing that can be broken when it's dropped. So I like to use pins. You could also get like large markers if you have a bigger dog so they don't choke on it or bite it in half, because this is a really dinky pin. But just something to start off with, something you don't care about getting slobber on, if there's tooth marks in it or anything like that, if they decide to munch on it. So when you use treats, you're going to be using a shaping method. And depending on how easily you can get your dog to pick up the toy the first time is going to be how much shaping you're going to have to use. So at first, let's say if you're using a toy, you can tease them with it. Elsa, look, look. Yeah, what's that? What's that? What's that? Come on. Come on. Yes! So I can tease. Now she already knows it, so she went right into it, but maybe you can get like a little nip on the end, especially like little puppies. It shouldn't be that hard to get it, right? Get it. Yeah, good girl. And then of course I will mark and reward. I'm marking with a yes right now. You can use a clicker. Clickers are awesome for this training. Sit. They work very, very well. Another thing is if you are going to shape a behavior, so I'm going to go ahead and use this, you would teach them, you would start rewarding as soon as they're touching it. So if you can't really get them to like play with it, play with a toy or anything like that, you just want to use treats, what you could do is you put this up to their face, kind of close, maybe move it around a little bit while they're like curious that maybe they'll sniff it first. Of course, she's just going to stare at me. Yes! Of course, she touched it, so I'm going to go ahead and reward that. Yes! Good girl. Hope I'm in frame. Ooh. Yes. Good girl. So eventually you're going to get a lot of touching. You could even like toss it down on the ground and have them touch it from there. As long as they're touching, then eventually, good girl, they'll start to get the game. They're like, oh yes, if I touch this, I get a treat. And then, once you start to see that, then you're going to start asking for more. You're going to start asking them to actually like open her mouth. I don't know if you saw that, but I could see that she actually started to open her mouth a little bit more. A lot of times, like if you, raising the criteria, if you let her touch it and then don't reward, the next time, yes. She will, they'll try a little bit harder. They'll try something different. It's also very common for them to like throw paws at you to try to figure out what you want. So you want them to be a little frustrated. Yes! Good job! To get a little frustrated so they're trying stuff, but you don't want them to get so frustrated that they give up. If they're giving up or they're not interested, then you're asking way too much. It's not a fun game anymore. They're just plain frustrated. So, yes, good girl. And if you notice when she fully put her mouth on it, I did a double treat that's called jackpotting, when you give them several treats because you're like, yes, that's exactly what I want. But you notice the next time she didn't do that. And I just rewarded, yes, for a little nibble. So you go from a touch to a little nibble to finally, yes! It's actually behind their canines is what you want to look for when you have a round object. If you have something a little bit more like a large plush, like this maybe, this dead turkey. Ooh, yes. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, good girl. You want it to be at least on, like the canines at least have it, because a lot of times dogs, especially finicky when you do move on to like metal objects like keys and stuff, some dogs will do metal objects. Sometimes it hurts their teeth, especially if they have older teeth, they're not in the best of shape. So it's good to put like maybe a little bit of fleece or some kind of tab on your keys so they can grab that instead of the metal, because it just feels really weird on their teeth. I mean, you could probably bite your keys by yourself and you can tell, that's probably not the funnest thing to have in your mouth. So, but once they start getting the idea of it, and then you could start adding the word, like take it or get it. Good. Yes, give it. Oh yes, good girl. And of course you could add those other words in there, but we're not going to focus that too much right now. So that's basically doing the shaping, is you get them to touch it first. It could be just sniffing the object at first. That's why it's kind of cool to use a pin, because they're usually like, what is that? Unless they like chewing on pins. Normally it's not an object that a dog has a lot of contact with, so they'll generally at least sniff it once. You can capture that, treat them for it, and then like, oh, okay. And then slowly into a full hold, and then you could just reward for that. And of course, hold will be our next video, so if you have not hit that subscribe button already, make sure you do, and also give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful. I hope it is, and that you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Bye!